So in today's video, we're going to be looking at screwing back. We're going to be going over some of the main technique that you need to be doing on the shot to create screw, and also like the biggest factors that are going to basically affect how the ball's going to screw back. Also, I'll be playing quite a few different examples on shots that are going to come up in games where you're going to be having to screw the ball back in common shots that you need to practice. So when you first want to learn how to screw back, I think it's important to obviously just try quite a short, easy shot. The reason for that is obviously we don't want to make the pot too difficult, so we're concentrating too much on that. And also, one of the biggest factors I'm going to speak about today is when we're screwing back, the distance from the white to the object ball is really another massive factor of how much spin you're going to get. So you can see here I've just got a red on the blue spot, and then the white's just about a foot away from that. So basically with screwing back, the two things that are the fact of how we're screwing back is obviously hitting low enough on the cue ball, so the correct part of the cue ball, and obviously with the correct speed, or enough speed to start creating the backspin. So quite a good thing obviously I've got here is the spotted cue ball as well, which I'm going to use today, which you'll be able to see straight away the spot's going to be obviously spinning backwards, and you can really tell how much spin we're creating. So like I say, we've got a straight shot here in the middle, just quite a short shot. So technique wise, when we're playing these shots, obviously in other videos with a cue action and timing video I did a couple of weeks ago, that all them aspects of what I was talking about in there is obviously really important, like for your setup, I think, to deliver a good cue action and get the timing right to be able to play these shots. So if you haven't watched that, go over and watch that first maybe to correct some of your setup issues, and this shot will be a lot easier. So I would do all that side first and then come into this. So obviously to screw back, what we need to do is hit the bottom of the cue ball. And the main way we've got to have to do that is if I say that's sort of a neutral bridge, like middle of the white, I would just try and lower the bridge hand down so the tip goes lower down like that. What's quite important there though with the bridge hand is when you're lowering it, you don't want to lose the stability with your thumb. What I see quite a lot is people lowering the bridge hand, and the thumb sort of comes away quite a lot from the finger, and then you've lost that stability there, and the cue can move about. So try and keep that stability as much as you can, but just lower the bridge. Obviously, the other big thing I see in a lot of clubs is that people are lifting the back of the cue to get the tip down. You obviously want to keep that to a minimum, or you shouldn't really. I never really feel like I'm going lower at all with or higher. Sorry, with the back of the cue. So, like I say, from that position there, middle of the ball, to go lower, I've just moved the front, and the tips went lower. But the back of the cue has stayed pretty much exactly the same place. So I feel like I'm keeping the cue. It feels consistent at the back, and it's also nice and flat. So that's sort of like some of your basic setup, how you want to be on the shot. Then obviously it's coming into the cue action and the timing. So another big thing I get asked about is also the distance of your bridge. So for me, we don't want to be too far away, because that's when we're going to lose control of the tip, and we're going to lose a lot of accuracy. And like I say, that's where sometimes the tip's going to be either, might go down a bit too much and actually miss cue, or sometimes what I see a lot actually is when the bridge is too far away, people try and hit it, but the tip's actually coming up slightly when they hit it, and they don't get any spin, and the ball just sort of stuns dead. So I think, like I say in my other videos, I spoke about the bridge distance, just finding something that is nice and controlled, that you can get a good backswing and a good follow through. That's going to help you, like I say, build up a good sort of muscle memory for these shots. So like I say, I'll play one now for you just to give you an example. So You can't even start like there. I'm on the middle of the white now, and I'm just going to lower the bridge to the bottom of the cue ball. I'm doing a couple of feathers to feel where the cue is, and then nice long backswing, follow through the bottom, and you can start to see the ball coming back there. So if you're finding that you're trying that shot and you are getting a bit of spin quite quickly, that obviously means you're doing quite a few things right. And what I do, to be honest with you, is I'm not that keen on having the cue ball straight, even though I've just done one there for you, because obviously you see I've got to hit it and jump out the way of the shot. And I feel like when in my lessons, when I've tried that in the past, basically having to hit it and move out the way quickly is sometimes causing people not to fully follow through and commit to the shot properly, because they're having to move out the way of the cue ball quickly. So what I actually prefer to do is just put a slight angle on the shot like that. So basically I'm going to do exactly the same technique. So I'm standing the line of the shot, come in, and I've lowered my bridge hand down to the bottom of the cue ball where I want to be. I've just got a slight angle this time. Nice long backswing, follow through. And now because I've got a slight angle, the cue ball's coming back just to the cushion here. Because I've got a slight angle as well, I'll just do another one for you. I can fully follow through and just stay there. I don't have to move at all on the shot. And I can see there as well from my finishing position that I've followed through lovely and low. And that's why the cue ball's spinning back like it is. I'm not coming up and hitting higher on the ball or anything. It's nice and consistent. So if you're trying this shot and basically the cue ball's just not coming back very well, like I say, we've got to go back to the two basic things that are going to make this cue ball come back, which is obviously hitting the right part of the cue ball, which is nice and low, but also with the correct speed as well. So we've got to be quite aggressive. I always sort of say to people in lessons that you've got to think of it a little bit like physics. The cue ball doesn't want to come back. There's obviously quite a bit of weight to the cue ball. So to generate that spin, you know, we've got to have a good, nice cue action and technique. And we've got to be quite aggressive through the ball. Especially, you know, like in your snooker clubs where sometimes the tables are a bit slower or the cloths are a bit heavy. You know, you've got to be able to time the ball well to get it coming back. But just to go over the technique a little bit more, just little things you can watch out for, like I say. So I mentioned before the bridge distance. But I'd say that one of the big things that I always encourage people to try and do is try and have a slightly longer backswing maybe than normal. What I see a lot in the club is people doing this shot and they're only pulling back a little bit and then they're trying to hit it really hard from there, and everything just starts going wrong. So the comeback, they go far too fast, so they've got it's not smooth or anything. You can even obviously start missing the pot because of that. But as well, you're not going to create any spin because your technique's just falling apart. So I always, like I say, encourage people to have quite a reasonable, you know, length of backswing. Then that's going to be, that's giving you time and space to have a proper follow through. And like I say, other little things I've said in the other videos, my cue action and timing, is every shot I play like this, especially these screw shots, I'll come back and I'll finish with me hand hitting me chest. So like I say, try that if it's not coming back. Also another big thing obviously with club players and amateurs is they're obviously quite wary of hitting low on the cue ball. I'm often saying to people, go lower, and they're quite frightened obviously because they think they're going to maybe start miscuing. But to be fair, you know, everyone miscues now and then. You could go on YouTube now and type in professional snooker players miscuing and they all do it. But you've got to try not to be too, you know, scared of it happening. We've got to commit to the shot. So obviously if, like I say, we keep the cue reasonably flat through the shot, then that's going to, you know, there's not a lot of chance really of miscuing. So nice and flat, low on the cue ball. Like I say, I'll just do another one here. Nice and low, smooth backswing, follow through again there. and I can feel my hands hit my chest, and I can see where my tip's finished. Again, like I say, if you stay down on these shots, you can really get some good feedback and see what you're doing right or wrong. So I'll just show you a slight difference here of what can happen if we hit if we're finishing positions just a little bit higher than that. So I'm aiming quite low here, but if we slightly come up through the ball, yeah, so that's only come up a little bit there, and look at the difference in the cue ball. It's just played a normal stun shot, so the tip should have been down here from the last shots, and it's lifted through there. Like I say, when you played the shot, sometimes just stay down and actually look at your finishing position, and you can quite often see why things are going wrong. Now I just want to go into, like I say, some of the other sort of factors that are going to affect basically when you're screwing back. Probably one of the biggest ones is, like I said earlier, the distance from the white to the object ball. So just to give you a good example here, I've put the cue ball in the same position I was from before, but now the red is, you know, more than double the distance away from where the object ball was before in the blue spot. So the fact is now, if I play a screw shot over this distance, and let's just say I play at the same pace as I did before, where the cue ball was screwing back to this cushion, it's on this kind of shot, it's obviously not going to come back like obviously anywhere near as much, because as the white's traveling to that red, the further it goes, the spin is wearing off. So I'll just give you a little example. I'll try and play it the same technique and the same pace as the last shot. Nice and low, smooth backswing. So I've hit that quite well there, you see. And this time, it's only spun back probably a foot and a half, 2 foot at the most. So like I say, you've got to start making these little allowances, and being, the biggest thing really is being aware of that when you're playing. If you really are new to screwing back, then I think sometimes you've almost got to set yourself a bit of a limit, or just try and control what you're doing. Try not to just think, right, hit it harder, because believe it or not, you know, sometimes we're going to end up missing these shots just from trying to hit it far too hard. So you want to play the shot as controlled as we can, and you know, just trying to keep your technique and everything as good as possible. So like I say, sometimes don't maybe expect to get a lot of when you've got more distance, but if you are getting better at your screw back and you want to keep developing it, then basically if I was going to try and screw back further off this shot, I'm just going to do a little bit of what I was saying earlier, and I'm going to actually have an even longer backswing, so then I can really accelerate through the bottom of the white. But obviously, like I say, this takes quite a lot of practice, you know, and time and to build up how it feels. So I'll try and get a bit more screw here. So same technique, bottom of the white, but this time much longer backswing. Really accelerate through, and you can see that time I've got a loads of spin there. Hit that really nice, and it spun back, you know, really fast in it, and it felt good. It didn't feel like I actually hit it really hard. And again, that's because of the technique and the cue action with the like I say, the long backswing and the good follow through. If you try that shot and you haven't got like I say, a long enough backswing, you're going to find it really difficult to generate, you know, the natural cue power you need. So another shot we're going to just look at is I've got a red on the pink spot in the cue ball just off straight here. So basically if I screw back, it's going to start coming back up this side of the table. So again, I can commit to the shot and stay down. I haven't got to worry about the cue ball coming back and hitting us. I can really stay down and again look at my finishing position to see if it's where it should be. And again, it's a short shot in the respect that the cue ball to the red are quite close together. Obviously, the object ball's got a little bit further to go now from the pink spot to the corner pocket, but I know that the spin's going to happen quite easily, like I say, because of this distance is short. on this kind of shot, you can start maybe looking at a bit more of like your pace control. So, for instance, if I just wanted to do a soft screw here, it's coming back to the stuff I was talking about before about maybe how can you use your technique also to help your pace control. A lot of it, you know, still does come down to practice, and I can't really tell you how hard to hit a shot. That comes from, like I say, the hours of practice and repetition of doing these shots, and finding out yourself how it feels. But basically, if I just want to do a softer screw, I'm going to do a little bit of the opposite of what I was saying before, and this time my backswing wouldn't be quite as long. It might only be halfway back, but then I would still have that nice follow through to hit me chest. So I'll just try one here. So it's always the same setup, nice and low. Got the cue action the same, just a little bit shorter. Follow through. So you can see there, just a little soft screw. And then I would basically, you can try that a few times and just see how consistent it is. And yet, like I say, this is how you can build up some like repetition and muscle memory for how shots feel. And like I say, you're relying actually a little bit more on your technique as well, which I think can help. So again, I'll try and do the same thing, just same setup, just a shorter backswing, just halfway back, follow through, and it comes back not too far. Similar, you see, and it feels controlled. And you can just go from there. You can think of like you're playing a pink in the corner pocket here, but your reds could be up past the blue spot here. So again, all I'm going to do is have a slightly longer backswing, and then I'll be accelerate a little bit easier through the white, and then the spin will just start happening a bit easier from there. So nice and low, a little bit longer back, follow through, and you see I've spun back there another probably 3 foot quite easily. Again, because I know it's a short shot, but I'm just trying to build up, like I say, this good muscle memory that can help us out with these shots, and like a bit more technique behind it. And then the same again, if I've got a pink and let's just say I wanted to get the white in bulk, exactly the same. Just try the same setup but a longer backswing. Just have it nice and slow. We don't want to be fast on the backswing. So a bit longer and follow through, nice and aggressive. And again, you know, I've added probably another good 3 or 4 foot there onto the cue ball without hitting it too hard. So like I say, a lot of that does come from, you know, obviously for years and years of practice, and I know how, if I get in a certain position, and I execute the technique and cue action how I want, I know that I'm going to get a good result like that. So I'm just going to run through a few common shots that come up in games, and shots that you might want to practice a bit. But so the first one is a straight black off the spot. Now, I've done obviously a few other videos where I say basically we never want to really be here, and this is one of the reasons why, because we're going to have to try and screw back off the cushion quite a lot here to get on my next red. But like I say, even though we don't want to be here, it's still a shot you want to be good at, and it's worth practicing, like I said, to develop your screwing back as well. So just like I said, through the stuff we're doing earlier, nice and low on the cue ball. Obviously this one again, quite a long backswing to generate the spin, because I want to get the white to bounce off the cushion quite a lot for that red. So I've got my line coming in nice and low, few feathers, long backswing, follow through. So I've got to move out the way quite quickly there to come up, and that's not bad on the red. The biggest thing from there is, what you've got to think of is you are actually slightly out of position on the straight on the black. A lot of people don't think that. They think it's a good position. So for me, if it was perfect, I would be a little bit higher. But the good thing is, for that red, I can get my hand on the table to play the red next. That's the biggest thing for me. I don't want to be back here and cueing off the cushion. So like I say, have a few goes of that. It's quite a tricky shot, like I say, because you're going to have to jump out the way, but it comes up in your frames quite a lot. So the next shot we're going to look at is pretty hard shot we're looking at here, which is like a long blue into the corner, and I'm going to try and screw back for one of the reds. So this could happen quite a bit in games, especially at the start when there's quite a few reds on and you can't get to the pink or black. So again, thinking of what I was saying earlier now, the distance between the white and the blue is quite a lot. So to get the spin, also I want to spin back, say a good 4.5 foot here. So this is going to have to be quite a lot of power. Again, my first thought is longer backswing. That's what I think I try to encourage everyone to do. As soon as you want more spin or generally more power, it should be your first thought technically should be a longer backswing. I think everyone's natural reaction is just hit it harder, and it just doesn't work very well. So nice and low, a few feathers, get me line. So blues went in, screw back pretty well there. Again, I didn't feel like I hit it too hard, and it's come back down for a choice of reds. Another good shot you could practice, that come up in games quite a lot, is, let's just say you've potted a red and you're trying to play up for the blue and it's come a little bit too far, and I'm on the ball colours here. So I'm going to play the yellow and try and screw down the table back down for the choice of reds. These come up quite a lot, so I think again for practicing everything what we're talking about with your cue action, and now obviously the pace control especially, I think these are really good because it's quite a short shot, it's not too long, but now I want the cue ball probably to come down the table about 8 or 9 foot. So again, it's going to be quite a long backswing. So I've got my line, get a few feathers, long backswing, right through there, flying down the table. So I'm back into a good area there, so I'll be able to keep my break going. So probably the main reason you've clicked on the video is to see something like this, which is a bit of a highlight shot that you maybe would see like a Judd Trump playing, especially on the TV. And obviously he makes it look very easy. But again, you've got to take into considerations, you know, like he's playing on a match table, the cloth is brand new, the balls and everything. So the spin does happen a bit easier, but it can still be done on tables like this. So again, just what I've talked about throughout today, nice long backswing, follow through, nice and still. Try and get quite a lot of backspin here. So just to recap some of the technique side of the screw shots we've been doing today. You want to keep your cue nice and flat. You want to lower your bridge down so the tip goes to the bottom of the cue ball. And then, like I say, you want to have a nice, long, smooth backswing so you can really follow through the bottom of the cue ball to get the most spin possible. So basically, what we don't want to be doing is the opposite of what I've just said, really. We don't want the cue to be pointing down too much. That's when we're going to be starting to maybe, you know, have them miscues. The other thing really is, again, like we don't want to have a short backswing, because what happens is we'll pull back a little bit, and then your brain basically kicks in and says, right, go really fast. And that's where things, like I say, start going really wrong. I see loads of people putting, you know, unintentional side spin on and then missing the ball. And basically the screws, the last thing that's going to happen. Keep it nice and still, you know, like I say, maybe if you can, stay down and watch where your finishing position is. You can get some good feedback from you and seeing where your tip finishes. But like I say, nice and smooth, and just let the cue do the work. So I hope you've found that useful, because I get a lot of comments and people asking, you know, about screwing back. It's obviously quite a hot topic in snooker, I think, especially for people coming into the game as beginners. They want to be able to, you know, see the ball coming back, because it is satisfying when it starts happening. But even if you're at a like intermediate to advanced level, you can always improve, and you might find from that video just a couple of little tips in there that might just help you out. So again, thanks for watching. Leave us a comment below if you want us to make any of that sort of videos that you're interested in, or anything you're struggling with. And as usual, go across and make sure you subscribe to the channel and not miss any more content in the future.